Welcome to our next lesson. In our lesson today, we are going to be looking at IELTS speaking and specifically at part 3. Again, we're going to follow the same format as in our last lessons. We're going to look at some question types and analyze them. What's important to note is that we've been slowly progressing. So in our first video, we were looking at a simple conversation between two people. In this conversation, we were trying to get information. If you can remember, we were looking at somebody who was calling up a motor registry. They said their name. Can you give me a name, please? My name is Caroline Black. Can you spell that for me? Yes, that's Black. Uh, Very easy information, which we're just fishing out from the conversation. In part 2, it got slightly more difficult because it was a monologue. That doesn't give you quite the amount of time to be able to adjust to the speakers. And now we are getting into a conversation between two people. However, the questions are getting significantly more difficult. What we are trying to do is we're trying to get context from a question. So the answer might be given. However, the answer will be given hidden within in and amongst three possible answers. So this is where listening gets a little bit more tricky. But what we can do is apply some of these skills, tricks, tips, and this will help us to be able to best handle the questions which are being thrown at us. So let's have a look at a question type, and this is a question type which many of you have undoubtedly faced before. In fact, I would be absolutely shocked if you've never seen this question type. It's multiple choice. It's a favorite on many tests. And what you need to do is just choose the correct answer. And this brings us to a tip, which can be applied both in listening and in reading, which is just if you're not sure of the answer, guess. Don't leave any answers blank. Now, this can't be done with every question type, but with multiple choice, true, false, not given, yes, no, not given, anything with letters, you can always have a guess. In fact, some of the best test takers actually take educated guesses. And really, this is what gives them the ability to be able to score very highly, higher than their actual knowledge on a test. So let's have a look at the question at hand. And actually, before we look at the question, of course, we want to have a look at the steps to success. So let's have a look at how to best handle a multiple choice question. So because it is going to be slightly more difficult than just the answers aren't going to be easy. They're going to be embedded into the listening. What we want to do is we still want to read very carefully. We want to get as much context as we can, which might not always be possible, but the more we get, the better it is. So we want to underline the key words. We want to have a look. Is it a question? Is it a statement? What is it that we're looking for? And then what we want to do is we want to rephrase some of these into our own words. And this really helps us to be able to understand the question or the statement and to be able to answer appropriately. And you'll have some possible answers, as multiple choice gives you an option of A, B, C, possibly D. And you want to have a look at those options and underline, circle those keywords, and even paraphrase them or put them into your own words. This will really help you when the speaker is listening to know exactly what you're listening out for. So let's see if we can do this. So here's our question, and it's, why do flamingos in captivity need to eat algae? So it's a question. Make a note of that. And we've got three possible answers. So before we look at the answers, let's have a look at these this question in more detail. So flamingos. Now, for some of us, we know what a flamingo is. That bird on the right, that's a flamingo. In our mind, that image pops straight up. For others, it's a blank. What's a flamingo? Uh, in captivity, need to eat algae. And again, we've got algae. That's another strange word. Maybe we've got no idea what it is. Doesn't matter. Underline it. It is important. But whether you do know or don't know what this word is, it won't affect your ability to be able to answer A, B, or C. Same with flamingo. If you don't know what it is, it doesn't matter. However, hopefully we'll be able to at least get two words which are also critical here. It's captivity and eat. So let's have a look at A, to ensure they remain healthy. Let's see if we can paraphrase that. So we're really underlining remain healthy. That's a key idea in A. And if we paraphrase that, it's so that they can be healthy, or they eat algae because it's good for their health. If we have a look at B, to supplement their diet. So the key word here is a supplement. So in addition to what they already eat. So again, ask yourself this question: why do flamingos need to eat algae? Because it's helpful to what they already eat. And finally, to keep their bodies pink. So it's all they need to eat algae in order to keep their pink appearance, or in order to remain pink in color. So there it is. That's basically the strategy applied. And now what we're going to do is we're going to listen and see if we can get the correct answer.
So flamingos in zoos need to eat algae, do they? Why is that?
Well, for a long while, flamingos living in captivity, for example in zoos, kept losing their delicate pink colour and fading to white. Then the zookeepers realised the problem was due to the bird's diet.
Weren't they getting enough food?
No, that wasn't the problem. It was that in the wild, flamingos feed on a certain kind of algae containing chemicals called carotenoids, which give the birds their distinctive colour.
So we can see that there wasn't anything to do with remaining healthy. However, diet was mentioned, but the answer wasn't B. It was all to do with color. Eating algae is necessary for flamingos in order for them to keep their bodies pink. So if you chose the answer C, then you get question number 21 correct. And well done to you. Let's move on to the next task type. And the next task type is matching. So what you get is basically you get words in a list, and they're numbered 1, 2, 3, etc. And then you get words in a box. So basically you have to match across 1, 2, and 3 with A, B, and C. And sometimes what happens is that you might get more in the A, B, and C than there is actually to match with 1, 2, and 3. And that's fine. You'll have to use, you won't have to use all of them. Or alternatively, you might need to use some of them more than once. So it really depends on how the question is phrased. So let's have a look at how we would best approach a question like this. So first of all, we want to again get context. So we want to have a look at the list of numbered questions and decide what they have in common. Then what we want to do is we want to quietly say them to ourselves. And this will help us to recognize those words on the recording. It will help prepare our mind. And again, we don't want to just read the questions. We want to have a look at the list of options. And we want to just have a look if there's a heading, if there's anything that can help us. so that when we do start listening, we know exactly what it is that we're listening for. So use this whole idea of paraphrase. Say each word, try and see if you can think of a synonym for it, and that will help your mind to get ready in order to, when the person starts speaking, you're ready to catch those words. So let's have a look at our question type. And we've got a lecturer speaking about students. And if we have a look at the box, we've got comments on students' work. So, really, what we're listening for here is we're looking for a lecturer saying things or making comments on a student's ability or their performance on a specific task. So if we have a look at the numbers, which are our questions, which go from 22 to 25, we've got 4 people. So we've got David, Rosa, Lee, and Kim. So you can say those words to yourself. That will help you during the listening to catch those, um, to prepare your mind to catch the answers. But really, where we need to be focusing our attention to is A to G. So you can see there's quite a significant amount more letters than there are names. And so needs to resubmit. So obviously we want to see if we can paraphrase this or rephrase this, and needs to resubmit. So they've got to do their work again. Reasonable level throughout. Think about how you could rephrase that or put that into your own words. Reasonable, it means it's okay, it's good enough, and level throughout. So the reasonable level would be together, and throughout would mean in all of the test, or all of the assignment. Still to be marked means it hasn't been marked yet. Shows potential means it looks like it could be good. Obviously not that great yet. Needs more data means that there isn't sufficient data information, or I'm not sure how you could rephrase data more there off the top of my mind. Finally, we've got excellent original work. So we've really got something that's of a top level that hasn't been plagiarized in any way. And G, below average means it's not quite good enough. So in this task, I'm not going to give you listening. I'm going to give you some comments of the teacher. So let's have a look at those. Lee's research is groundbreaking and of a very high standard. I don't have any concerns about him. Rosa's work is usually pretty good, though certainly not brilliant. She deserves a solid pass. Kim's work hasn't been assessed yet, so I'm not in a position to comment. David's work was good, but lacked content. The paper would be better if it included some more examples, but there's no need for him to resubmit. So as you can see, the answers weren't given to you in any particular order. So we had Lee go first. So he's number 24, and we've got that his research is groundbreaking and of a very high standard. So which one would you match that to? We've got Rose's work is usually pretty good, though certainly not brilliant. Now, brilliant would be a synonym of F, excellent. However, we've got a negative there, so it's not brilliant. She deserves a solid pass. And so what we've got there is we've got pretty good, a solid pass, which is what we want to get from Rose's work. Kim's work hasn't been assessed yet, so I'm not in a position to comment. So that one there should be quite easy. Hasn't been assessed is what we're really looking for there. David's work was good, but lacked content, so there's something missing. The paper would be better if it included some more examples, but there's no need for him to resubmit. And again, resubmit is in A. We can see it there. However, it's again paired with a negative. And this is really what separates task 3 from task 1. The part 3 answers demand from you a lot more logic in the thinking. You have to really get the idea of what the people are talking about, not just repeat an answer. And this is really where the test starts to sort out the lower level candidates from the higher level candidates. So IELTS 5s, IELTS 4s, they're not going to be able to catch this level of complexity in speech, whereas they will be able to catch some of those answers from speaking, from listening 1. Let's have a look at what the answers were and see if you got them correct. So number 22 was E, number 23 was B, number 24 was F, and finally 25 was C. So let's just have a look how that transfers. So David needed more data. Rosa shows potential. Sorry. Now let's have a look at one more task. In this task here, we will have a listening. We will have a recording that we can listen to. And this is quite a unique task to IELTS. It's not like the multiple choice question which you would see in a typical listening test. This one's quite unique, and it's called labeling a diagram. So basically what you get is a diagram of some sort, and the diagram can be a picture, it can be maybe a little bit more complex. And basically you might get a box with some possible answers, or you might just have to listen for the answers. And so it is quite a complex question because a lot of us probably haven't been faced with it in a different type of test. So let's have a look at some strategies that we can employ. And obviously, again, here it's really important that we read the instructions. We want to see how many words we can write in our answer, especially if we're not taking those answers from a box. We then want to have a look at the diagram. We want to study the diagram, see if we can possibly get some answers without even listening. It is possible that some things might be clear for us and at least help us when we're listening, just to check whether what we guessed was right or wrong. And so if there are any other titles or labels, they're going to be key in helping us. And if we do get a box, then have a read through those options and see where could these options possibly go. Make sure you understand the options as much as possible. And again, think where you could possibly put them. So let's have a look at our diagram. Let's see if we can match some of these answers to it. So our diagram here, again, quite a unique question. And we do have a box. So again, we've got 3 questions. Have a look at the order that they're going to go in. So we've got 26. And have a look at what the arrows are pointing to. So the questions 26 to 28 label the diagram. So we're just choosing answers from a box. So there's no need to pay attention to how many words we can write. Have Have a look at what the arrows there are pointing to in 26. I mean, obviously, it looks strange. What do you think that diagram is of? Um, we've got a title, Prototype for a Plastic Car. It's a car. We're looking at a car here, and it's a plastic car. It's a prototype. If we don't understand that word, that's fine. And we've already got one answer given to us, and that's multi-directional wheels. Have a look at 27. Where is that arrow pointing to? What could that possibly be? 28. It's a little bit difficult to see, but it's pointing to something inside the car. What could that be? Now have a look at the possible answers or the options in the box. We've got metal frame. We've got wing. Plastic cells. We've got a door. We've got a computer, a road map, or a camera. So let's think about what 26 could be. It could possibly be a metal frame. It could be plastic cells. It's definitely not going to be a road map. It's definitely not going to be a camera. And whatever it is, it's going to be in possibly in the plural, which would make me think that plastic cells. Since there's two arrows pointing to it, plastic cells would be the thing that would most likely be the answer. So that kind of critical analysis is what's going to help me as I listen to think whether it's going to be the metal frame or plastic cells. Then if we have a look at the number 27, we've got something that's going up. Obviously, if it's a car, it's probably a way to get in the car. Now it's telling me in the answers it could be a wing or a door. So either one of those options I would be thinking would be a possibility. Now it's up to your interpretation whether that could be a wing or whether it is a door. But obviously we're not trying to guess. We're going to be listening for the correct answer. And finally in 28, it's pointing to something inside the car, and that really could be a computer, it could be a road map, it could be a camera. It also could be, it's definitely not going to be a door, it's definitely not going to be a wing, it's not going to be a metal frame, neither is it going to be plastic cells. So really we're looking at options E to G for number 28. And just a logical analysis has really narrowed down what the options are. And it's given us a huge advantage over just simply listening and trying to put in the answers. So again, applying this strategy is really going to put you at an advantage on a question type like this. So let's see how we go and listen to this recording and see if we can answer questions 26 to 28.
I believe researchers are exploring the idea of a padded car to reduce injuries and accidents. Can you tell us something about what it will be like?
Yes. Well, the car will be covered in plastic cells filled with air, moulded round a conventional metal frame.
I see. So the plastic cells will allow cars to bounce off each other.
Exactly. And you'd also be able to see what's just behind you on the road because there's a camera mounted on the back.
Any other innovations?
The doors will open upwards and out, giving the appearance of a wing when open, and the wheels will go in all directions to assist in heavy traffic. And to guide motorists away from traffic jams and help them find a parking spot, the car will be fitted with a computer near the steering wheel.
Where the driver can see it, of course.
Yes. There's also a hook to allow novel parking techniques.
Oh, it sounds amazing.
So as we can see, having done that critical analysis before listening has really helped us to be able to identify the answers. And so 26, obviously we heard both plastic cells and metal frames and a metal frame. But here the answer will be C, plastic cells, which will go around a metal frame. So obviously the metal frame is underneath the plastic cells. 27 would have been the door. It wasn't called a wing, but it was a door that would go upwards. We probably would have also heard a camera at the back. Now, knowing that where the front of the car is, we understand that that camera at the back is unnecessary for our information, so we cross that out. And we now know that number 28 is just going to be between a computer or a road map. And then finally, number 28, as we did here, computer, we would have wrote in. And that would have brought us to the end of this question. And it also brings us to the end of speaking part 3. So the answers, in case you didn't catch them, are here. So C, D, and E. And that brings us to a close of this lesson. Next lesson, we'll have a look at speaking part 4.